Joining us now, perhaps with a little bit more insight and not as much blue goggle, is Kelly Poppinga, the linebacker coach. Good friend. Welcome back to Studio B, Kelly.
It's good to have. That's good to have you. It's good to be here. Yeah, good to have you guys here.
Coming in to host the show.
Yeah. Nice to have you guys show up finally, right?
No. It's your show. We're just here.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be
We
back.
rent the space from you.
Yes.
Okay, spring football all wrapped up. Now it's up to the guys to keep things going during the long 4-month summer before fall camp begins. What are the specific instructions you give to the guys as they head out and have to do things on their own?
Yeah, really, it all starts with getting with Coach Wintrick, and he is, man, from the time he came in was it February, I think, when he started, till going up to spring ball to get our guys ready for spring ball. He's done an amazing job, and so he's already given them a packet for this month. So the reason why we screwed up spring ball, a lot of people don't know this, is so that they have more time getting ready for finals. And so now they have, really, spring ball would go into next week with our old model. Now everything's bumped a week forward, and so now they have an extra week to get ready for their finals. But in the meantime, they're still going to work out, but it's going to be on their own. So for this month of April, it's just concentrating on academics. So they need to finish the semester high on the right note, which is the very first thing they need to do so that they're eligible to play next year. And then they need to keep themselves in shape for when they report May 4th, then they're ready to go with Coach Wintrick, and he's gonna kill them. That's basically what he's told us. So we're fired up for it. And he's doing a new model that we've never done here at BYU. We have a different deal here at BYU because we have spring and summer semester. Most schools in the country don't have to deal with that. So most schools, what they do, they give their guys the month of May off, then they come back, they work hard June and July and report to camp. Well, with our semesters being a little different here, our guys, what do we go to spring? Do we go to summer? It's been difficult for us to get all of our guys here at the same time to be able to go to school and get workouts. So he came up with a new model. He's basically going 2 weeks on, 1 week off, 2 weeks on, 1 week off from May 4th all the way until fall camp starts, which allows us to help them stay in school and do some different things. So he came up with this. It's pretty unique for him, and I think it's going to help our team.
Because there's some additional time that you can now work with the players,
correct?
Yeah.
So there's when they're enrolled in school, we as coaches actually can go by now and watch workouts, which in the past in the summertime we couldn't do that.
Not coach but watch?
Yeah, not coach but watch and be there. We could coach like an agility drill. But if it's anything football specific, we can't do any specific football coaching. But we can be there, we can evaluate, we can help Coach Wintrick out with whatever stuff he would need help out with. So really, now it's just they need to get with him in the weight room. And then when it gets into football specific stuff, now it really goes back to them. Of hopefully I've taught them well enough that they can go out on the field, and the leader of that group, which right now would be, I'd say, Tautu, Bronson Kaufusi, who goes kind of back and forth between offense and defensive line and outside backer.
Breaking news, Bronson Kaufusi is an O-lineman.
Yes. But those two guys will help run the drills along with Coach Wintrick, who's the strength and conditioning coach over the outside backers. He'll help them along. And so with him running the strength program and then the linebackers running the linebacker drills, they can progress through the summertime, come in ready to play football come, whatever that date is, August 4th or 5th, whenever we report.
We're just thinking about September 5th. Every day we count down to Nebraska. We can't wait. Let's talk about your guys on the outside. Who's competing at the will, and then let's talk about the Sam.
Yeah, so Sam Backer was a little different here in the spring just because we had a lot of guys hurt. Man, we got Fred Warner has been out since I think it was the Nevada game. He fractured his back, so he's finally recovering from that. He should actually be ready to go next week.
And his wrist or hand?
Yeah, and then his wrist. He also broke his wrist during the year, and he never told anybody.
Good grief.
And then we get into January, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I broke my wrist." And we're like, "Okay, well that would have been nice to know back when you broke it, so we could have fixed it then." But he, he's done a really good job of getting himself ready to get back into workouts come. Here in the week or two, I think he'll be ready to go, 100% ready to go. So he'll be for sure ready for fall camp. So he will be competing for that Sam Backer spot in fall camp along with Cy, along with Troy Hines, along with Rhett Sandlin. And so those guys, really the only two guys that really got reps at Sam that are going to be there in the fall are going to be Rhett and Cy. And then Cy ends up, tearing his MCL very first play of the spring game. And so, but he'll be ready. That's only a 6-week recovery, no surgeries needed, so he'll be ready to go. So those will be two guys I think between Cy and between Fred. I feel really good about that. Cy knows the defense really, really well, and he's worked really hard. He's had some really good players in front of him since he's got home off his mission with Kyle and Alani and Spencer, and now it's his turn, and he's the oldest guy in that group. I mean, I don't have any seniors in this next group of outside backers, so it's kind of his deal, and so he's done a really good job, I thought, this spring. Obviously, there's some things he needs to improve on, but at the will linebacker, Sione Takitaki had a really good spring ball. Probably out of all the defensive players was the guy that showed up on the film every single day, and is going to be a really, really good player. And I think Cougar fans are going to be excited to see number 16 running around and coming off the edge, and it's going to remind them of a lot of past players that we've had at that position. He is dynamic, and we're going to put him in position to make a lot of plays.
Number 16.
Number 16.
That's not a quarterback that's trying to tear your head off.
Or cornerback.
Yeah.
Who else at will is
Yeah, so we'll also have so there'll be Sione will be there, Tyler Cook will be there. He also had to miss some time in the spring. And then at times we'll have Bronson there. And so we'll have plenty of answers. I think, man, going into that room, there's going to be, 6 or 7 guys that I think are going to have a chance to play and to compete. We just moved Colby Jorgensen to outside backer. So we're going to give a hard look at him. He had one practice. He switched over on Wednesday and went out without really not knowing anything about the defense, and went out and made a couple plays and did some things that kind of opened all of our eyes and said, okay, I think he can do this. We would hope that we could get him big like Bronson, because right now he's about 245. We want to get him up to about 265, 270, built a lot like Bronson, same frame, about 6'7", and long arms. And so hopefully we can get him up, about 20 more pounds and do the same thing that we do with Bronson, where we can play him at D-line, play him outside backer, just depending upon the personnel that, the offense is putting out that we're playing against. So
let's talk about Bronson Kaufusi and the specific role or roles that he will play in the defense this year. How much time do you expect him to play at the linebacker position in contrast with defensive line stuff?
Yeah, I've been asked this question a lot over spring ball. Really, how our outside backers are, they're really defensive ends. And so everybody freaks out, oh, Bronson Kaufusi's not an outside backer, oh my gosh. I'm like, listen, when you're a 3-4, an outside backer is a defensive end. And so it's just how everybody wants to look at it. Is he going to have his hand down, or is he going to be standing up? They don't think he can drop into coverage. Well, we have to do things, and we think as a defense, when we're giving multiple looks, obviously we want to rush Bronson off the edge, for the majority of the time. But there are going to be some times where we're going to drop him, and that's really to give the offense a different look and not know, who's blitzing, who's dropping. We're going to be spinning coverages different ways, but for the most part, Bronson, he's very versatile, and we're going to line him up in a bunch of different spots and move him around. Very similar to what we did to Ziggy. Okay, so everybody look at Ziggy. Okay, not that it's saying they're different players, but we think that they can do things similarly. We drop Ziggy, and we rush Ziggy, and we line Ziggy up at a 5 technique, a 4 technique, a 3 technique, a 1 technique, a 0 technique. Bronson's going to be doing the same exact thing. So we're going to try to use him in the same way because we think he's a similar athlete. And so really what we're trying to do is just use his talents to help our defense be the best defense that we can be.
And Ziggy had a couple of interceptions that way where he dropped. I recall a couple of those. Let's talk about special teams. You still doing special teams?
Still doing special teams, yes.
Okay. Questions there. Who's the punter?
Yeah, so
we have a scholarship punter?
I can't say who it's going to be, but let's just say
So it's a newcomer.
It will be a newcomer, and I think Cougar fans are going to be just fired up when they find out who it is.
Hunter the punter returns from the 90s.
Yes. Yeah. But he's not on the team currently. Christian Stewart will be the punter.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. But it will be somebody that Cougar fans know. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, what a tease.
Yeah.
I
and
love
then
it.
come fall camp, hopefully he earns the spot. And he kicked at tryouts. We had tryouts on the very first day of spring ball. He came out and blew us away. I was blown away. But he couldn't get enrolled into spring because of certain scholarship things that are going on. So, but you guys can all make assumptions, and on Twitter you can all start guessing.
Okay.
Oh, they will.
This really is your show, Kelly.
Yes, there you go.
You were meant to do this.
Yes.
Okay, when we look at the special teams, Bronco mentioned specifically yesterday that he doesn't view him going back to the defense as taking over. as much as he views it as just utilizing himself as another resource to lighten the load on the rest of the defensive coaches. What kind of a difference have you noticed with Bronco back?
Yeah, so it's given me more time, because now what happened is when Coach Howell went to go be the defensive coordinator, really I lost him as a special teams coach. I wasn't able to use him as a special teams coach anymore, just because he was putting so much focus now on getting the defense coordinated and getting that ready. So now I get Coach Howell back, where he can now help me on special teams, lightens my load on special teams. Now I can put a little more focus on the outside backers. And so it's just, it's kind of like a little domino effect of just when he came in, it lightened Coach Howell's load, which then Coach Howell was able to help me out more, which then lightened my load. Now we can put more, detail into special teams, but also Coach Howell, he also could now put more detail into the defensive backs, because as a defensive coordinator, he was trying to coordinate the whole defense along with coaching 4 guys, which is really hard to do. And so now we're going back to the old model that we've been super successful with. And, it's just like what Coach Mount Hall said. He's coming into our room. He's adding another resource, another mind, another guy that can help us game plan and get ready for an opponent and be able to watch film and break down film and see what we do best as a defense and, adjust from there. And with his experience and when he walks into the room and players know who he is. Obviously, he's had a lot of success as a defensive coordinator and, just instantly has that respect for him, the guys. Whereas from Coach Howell, it's going to come. I think he's a really good coach, and I do think he's going to be a really good defensive coordinator one day. But obviously, over time, that respect's going to be earned more and more through the success that he has.
The Twitter guesses are already coming in.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
The punter.
Johnny Rugby for new BYU football punter.
That's a great guess. Great guess.
Riley Stevenson's coming back.
Kelly Poppinga is a future television host, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever he decides to be done with football, whether when you're 65 or whatever.
I want to answer a question too. You guys were teasing it for later.
Okay.
For your next guest, Mitch Matthews.
Yes. Is he elite?
Elite.
Yes.
Elite. So I don't want. I know he's standing over here, and I don't want to get his head too big, but really the guy that I'm talking serious now. The guy when we were watching film, besides watching Sione Takitaki on defense, it was Mitch Matthews. It was like it didn't matter where the ball was. He was going to find a way to catch the ball, and I was just, I was impressed and very, I was really blown away by just. It's funny because Mitch was really good last year, but the improvement I think he's made from last season. It's funny to say that because he was really good last year, but the improvement,
he's making the jump.
Yeah, and it's good to see, and he's been a good leader, and I think our offense is going to be lethal. And I think people that have come by, spring ball, they've seen how well our offense has been able to move the ball. And obviously our defense, we're not the defense that we're going to be come spring or come fall. We were missing a lot of pieces. But our offense, the weapons that they have with Taysom coming back, with Jamal, with Mitch, now with Devon and Nick and Algie and Adam. I would hate to have to go up and defend against our offense and all the different weapons that they have. And so I think Cougar fans are going to be excited to see our offense back on the field, and I know we're going to put a good product defensively on the field as well.
Kelly, great to have you with us, man.
Awesome.
Hey, guys, appreciate it, man.
I'm fired
Thanks for
up.
joining me. Thanks for joining me on my show today. Hopefully you guys can come back soon sometime.